Hi everyone and welcome to a video of mine. This is actually a rant video about the iMac 5K bag of crap. I bought it about a week ago, just over, and it was my experience with it has been that horrific that I've got rid of it, and I can honestly say good riddance to bad rubbish. It really was a piece of junk. Now, just before we go any further into this video, I am going to give a couple of good points about the iMac 5K 27-inch latest Fusion Drive singing and dancing model. In fact, no, it wasn't. It wasn't the one with the upgraded graphics card. I think there's one slightly better than it, but that's up to 3,200 quid. But it was a good spec one there with the Fusion Drive and 16 gig of RAM and all the business, or 8 gig of RAM. I found out when I was using it that at first I loved it. When I first powered it up, I thought, oh my God, look at this screen. It was a match made in heaven. It was beautiful. I then started just to use it on OS X Yosemite, and I started noticing slowdowns. Like you'd be typing for a Google search and scrolling through the results, and it'd just be right jittery and just felt like I needed a decent computer. Anyway, I sort of overlooked it, and then I noticed when I was on YouTube and I was watching videos on my subscriptions, I just got YouTube. See that jitter a bit then? That's what it was doing. But all the time. You know when you click on a YouTube video, oops. Content warning, let's just go here. When you click on a YouTube video, oh sorry, click now, and then you click this icon here now, you see how I got that little hesitance of a second? On the iMac 5K, what used to happen 80% of the time, when you'd click that, nothing would happen for like 3 or 4 seconds, and then it'd go full screen. And then 50% of the time, as it was on its way to full screen, it'd step, and then, it'd step, and then the sound would go out of sync on whoever were talking. Anyway, I googled it, and woe behold, massive big problem. So I wasn't happy about that. I was then using Lightroom. I did a photo shoot the other day, and I was using Lightroom to edit the images, and the images came from my 5D Mark I, my beloved full frame camera that you all know I love. And by the way, I found out using my Canon 28-72.8 that my images were just much, and I shot every image at 2.8 because I wanted to see if it could kill the 70D, and it did. There were more images. In fact, every image it took were near enough tap sharp focus, whereas on the 70D, it seems like your lens isn't as good on the 70D. It's really strange. I'll show you the images. I am going to do a video on it and show you the images. But to be fair, I'm not pixel peeping, but I just wanted to prove to myself that's why I like the 5D. I know that it's an old focus system, but it just works. Anyway, off the 5D, and I was editing those, and I noticed that Lightroom was just going really sluggish. Now you're probably wondering why I'm not showing you this. It's because I was just heartbroken when it did it, and I got it on Gumtree, got rid of it really fast. And now I'm on a MacBook Pro downstairs, because our lass is upstairs, on my new Hackintosh, which is an absolute dream. It's a really good Hackintosh. I'm going to do a video. It's gone together, absolute fantastic. A couple of little boot flags to get the graphics card going, but once it's installed, the bootloader's on, you can't tell whether it's a Mac or a Hackintosh. And it blows the iMac out of the water. Anyway, and I just noticed it was going really slow when I was scrolling between images. I was waiting 1, 2, 3, and then when I was doing the before and after, it would you'd just press it and go 1, 2, 3, and then it'd go dark, or let's say the image was slightly dark. In fact, on a lot of them, I must have had the brightness up on the screen a lot, and they were slightly under. So when I was going before and after, I just noticed, like when I was just editing them and just moving the sliders, it felt like a game when you're playing a game and the frames drop right like to 10 frames and they go right. It was just rubbish. So again, let's go to Google. Let's make sure I ain't got a faulty iMac before we start crying. Go to Google, woe behold, thousands of people, same problem, right? So I had read a lot of people say that OS X El Capitan, which is imminent out soon, there was a much better improvement to use the iMac 5K with that. So anyway, it was a real iMac, so it was dead easy. I downloaded the developer preview, installed it. Now I must admit, here's a little positive. Things dramatically, I mean, like, they were 60% better, but only 60%. There was still that YouTube bug there, wasn't as often, but used to do it very frequently. I mean, just that one bug alone were really annoying, because you'd just be watching a video and then it'd be out of sync, and you'd have to stop the video and refresh it to play it again to make it come back in. And I watch a lot of YouTube videos, as I hope you guys do while watching this. And it was just horrific. Running Lightroom was absolute pap. Photoshop seemed okay, but I don't do a lot in Photoshop, but I did take my images into Photoshop. I seemed okay. Now I will tell you that Lightroom, if you right click on the icon, I mean, I've not got it installed here, but basically you go to your applications folder, where are it? And then in here you'd find it, you'd right click on it, property, get info, and there's a setting called run in low resolution, which seems a really bit harsh thing to do, as you've just bought this photographer's and videographer's dream iMac 5K to turn it into low resolution. To be fair, it doesn't really look that bad, but it does respond quite considerably better when you do it, but it's still crap. It's still rubbish. I mean, and the reason why I'm giving it the World's Rubbish Award, in fact, I'm going to say shit. Now, I'm sorry for that, but that's how I feel. The World's Shit Award is because you pay £2,000, right? And it's not capable of the job, nowhere near. It's not, I will tell you now, and hopefully the subscribers who are subscribed to me will know that I'm not full of shit. And I'll tell you how it is, and I ain't a gear freak either. I don't need good gear, right? But I will tell you now, I'm actually naming it a photographer's and videographer's nightmare. Nightmare is a much better word to use. It's a proper piece of shit. It's rubbish, absolute rubbish. It can't handle it, it's just crap. Now, I don't know why it's crap, and I'm not remotely interested, but I know for the money you pay, it's rubbish. If it was £1,000, 800 quid, I'd say, well, what do you expect? It's a beautiful 5K display. It looks beautiful, it's a work of art, and you've got what you paid for. But you're paying a couple of grand for it. Do you know what I mean? And that's for the 1 terabyte Fusion drive. If you get 32 gig of RAM and all this. Now, I don't want any comments underneath about people talking about RAM, because it was nothing. I know exactly how a computer works. I know exactly how the processor works. I know exactly how it communicates with the RAM. I know exactly how it communicates with the hard drive. And it's nothing to do with your RAM. I've seen so many comments on the people that was upset that they got conned by Apple buying this machine, and a lot of comments were saying, you should have got more RAM, mate, you should have got more RAM, mate. You don't need any more than 8 gig of RAM to run a YouTube bloody video player. You could do it on 2 gig of RAM. So you don't know what you're talking about with those stupid, ridiculous comments. Them comments are only coming into play when you've been using Lightroom for a couple of hours and adding strong effects on and stuff like that onto your images. Then yes, you need more RAM, simple as that. But these people was moaning about general use, and that's what I'm saying. Just sat on the desktop now, browsing the internet, you just notice it just start really jerking, and then when you went to full screen, it'd be flicking all over the place, and you'd get little graphics glitches, and when you opened high resolution images, especially in OS X Yosemite, it was really bad, and I want on my own. So I can honestly say, if you want to get ripped off, go buy one, but otherwise don't. You might as well get the MacBook Pro Retina. Just absolutely kills the iMac 5K. Now, I will actually say why I know it's probably doing it is because of the 5K screen. Because the hardware is just not capable of running the 5K screen. It is capable of running the 5K screen for general tasks, but when it comes to tasks like Lightroom, where it's rendering, I mean, to be fair, I can see why they put the low resolution setting in Lightroom, but they should have actually told people about that, because it makes sense. Because if you've got a 5K screen, what used to happen is, I think one of my subscribers, Jamie, was saying that you can see your sharpness straight away, which you can, which is really good. You don't have to zoom in to know that you've got a tack sharp image with a 5K screen, which is fantastic. It really is. If it worked, it would be a photographer's dream, especially a photographer. I don't know about videographers. It'd need a lot of horsepower to be running 5K video, and I just don't think it would. But photographers, definitely, it would be a dream if it ran right, and I'm sure it would. I mean, the graphics card, I benchmarked the graphics cards in it, and on my old Hackintosh, I had a GTX 650 Ti, which worked flawlessly. But saying that, I was on a 1920x1080 screen, and I did notice that when I got a screen the same resolution as my new Hackintosh screen, I did notice it run a little bit slower, but it wasn't horrific like the 5K, but I did notice a difference. But the graphics card, when I benchmarked it on the 5K, it got another 180 frames on the software that I used a second. So really it was quite considerably more powerful, but on the other hand, 5200 by 2880 or something is double the resolution of that graphics card that we're using, and that really will, that's the problem. The graphics card just needs to be a real badass. They'll get it right on I'm sure the next one will be sweet, and I may opt for that, but at the minute I'm really pissed off because it's the first time I've actually ever bought a real Mac, and I've had a bad time, do you know what I mean? But you know, if they fix it, to be fair, I did like it. But I've just bought an Hackintosh upstairs, which I don't know if I said at the beginning, but I will do a video on it, and it absolutely kills it. Just upline and sinker, and it runs smoother. OS X runs better. I don't get glitches on video player. I don't get glitches. I mean, I was getting glitches on the 5K. It's a real Mac, and I'm running an Hackintosh. I've even noticed, I've just come down here on this MacBook Pro. Now, this is an older MacBook Pro, but I've noticed little glitches on this, like the screen tearing and jerkiness, and on my Hackintosh, my copy, my clone, whatever you want to call it. It's silky smooth. It's a workhorse for editing video, even 4K video, no problem. And editing D810 files, raw files, which you all know are massive. Although I ain't got a D810 anymore, but I'm just saying that it'd edit them all day long. So, thanks for watching this video. I will say a little spoiler alert that the MacBook Pro Retina is an absolute dog's nuts. So I'm slagging one Apple product off and absolutely loving another one. The MacBook Pro Retina in fact, it is better, and the screen is only 2560, I think, by 1440, but it's luscious, it's really good. I mean, I'm looking at the screen on this one, and this one looks like a plastic toy screen, and when I'm looking at the text and stuff, but the Retina really does fly. It's got an SSD in it, but like I said, my iMac, I did, by the way, for any of those wondering, I split the Fusion drive, because I don't know if you know this, but a Fusion drive is one SSD and one hard drive. And when they format them to I disconnected them in the disk utility. So here where it says Macintosh HD, I had a 1 terabyte, and I had another Macintosh HD, and that was an 120 gigabyte Apple solid state drive. And that's how I'm running it. And so it was running off of a solid state. I even put my catalogue on the solid state. I even put my raw files on the solid state, and it was better, admittedly, but it was still really a bag of poo. Anyway, thanks for watching. Please comment and subscribe.